This is the evening news from Moscow. You're listening to simultaneous interpretation from the Russian by John Glad. The program is entitled News 1. The miners have decided not to conduct a general strike, but there is still a strike condition in some regions. In Georgia, there's still a lot of ultimatums being exchanged, but there's a search for a peaceful resolution. In Kiev today, there opened a Congress of Ukrainians. The West is discussing assistance to the republics or countries who are formerly members of the Soviet Union. In Tallinn, in Estonia, there are demands for the resignation of the government of Savisaar, and the discovery was launched from Cape Canaveral today. So we'll have this news and other news today on Channel 1. And my name is Pavel Kasparov. Good evening. So we decided to start with the coal mines of Russia. The miners decided today not to conduct a general strike. The union agreed with the authorities that there would be created a commission which would strive to achieve a comprehensive solution. The miners of coal said they would maintain a state of readiness until they saw real results. Today, the president of Russia, Yeltsin, met with union members of the Kuzbas region. These are miners. He talked about their social safety net and about consumer items. There was special attention paid to certain unresolved questions on salary for miners. On all questions, it is stated there were decisions adopted. A number of unions, which are part of the League of Unions, have decided on the 27th to conduct a demonstration protesting prices and the lack of social safety net. There's just been conducted a meeting of the General Board of the union organization. Among the proposed actions is a 2-hour strike proposed. This is being insisted upon at a local level in certain areas. Of the 113 regional unions, 11 have voted for a strike, 43 are against striking. The rest have either abstained or have not determined their position. It has been proposed in their decisions that they choose the means of struggle. They are complaining about restrained, unpaid salaries and pensions and salary levels. From official news, by declaration of the President of Russia, Mr. Yeltsin, there's been formed a Ministry of Transportation and Communications of the Russian Federation on the basis of the former Soviet ministry. It will receive or inherit all the structures, institutions, and organizations of the former ministry, which are located on Russian territory and likewise abroad. The minister will be Gennady Fadeyev. These are famous Russians painted by the artist Ovechkin and have been exhibited here to give our government, lend them wisdom. Here they will be discussing the economic reforms and examining the budget of the Republic, and they will over and over again be establishing the priorities of our projects and will attempt to help society get out of our current crisis. This is Mr. Shumeika, who was the first deputy chairman of the Supreme Soviet of the Russian Federation. We have a lot of, we want to develop competition and then have a freeing up of prices. As you can see, the prices are continuing to go up. We couldn't hold this down, and we had to get ahead of this process. That's what the government did by liberalizing prices. But then it's a different question of how we did this. We saw what the Committee on Prices did, what the Anti-Monopoly Committee did. We looked at the prices in the list of the president, And we think that the financial recovery will take place more quickly. I would like to have this criticism be perceived constructively. We have to look at the internal ideology of reform. This is the meatpacking factory where they had to shut down the lines because the stores would not accept all these very expensive items of food. They couldn't sell them. Yes, that's the food which we have not seen on our tables and which have not been added to since the reforms have been introduced. So the administration of the region had to limit prices. The processing enterprises are now asked to sell to the population food at no more than 65 or 70 rubles a kilogram. Poultry and meat pies, 40 rubles. Sausage boiled, 80 rubles a kilogram. Butter, 90 rubles. Sour cream, 14. There's also maximum prices for bread, eggs, and other items of food. The Moscow Sociological Agency and the Academy of Sciences have conducted a poll on price liberalization. 49% of the Muscovites do support the rise in prices or the liberalization, but 31% said no or were inclined to be negative. The strongest supporters of reform were those who were in the age bracket from 18 to 38 years. That was the 68%. When people were asked how they hope to help themselves out, they said they would rely only on themselves mainly. That was 66% that said they would rely on themselves only. Now the situation in Georgia. In spite of the fact that Gamsahurdia's supporters have yet to hand in their weaponry, the confrontation has not developed into major clashes yet. The supporters of Gamsahurdia have sent their representatives to Zugdidi. That's for consultations. The sides are implacable as of yet. They keep exchanging ultimatums. The latest ultimatum of the former president amounts to clearing the roads and the railroads around Zugdidi. The forces of Kitovani are greater than those of Gamsahurdia, but a clash would lead to hundreds of casualties on both sides. According to our data, the president or the former president is not far from Sukhumi, but there are rumors that he might move to Grozny, and that's entirely believable. As for his flight that did not take place, that evidently was only delayed. In Grozny is his wife and some of his nearest supporters. Jahar Dudayev, who is watching over the family of Gamsahurdia. There are guards set out. The situation should clarify itself in the near future. From Tashkent, we learn that the spiritual leadership of Central Asia has turned to appeal to the population of Uzbekistan with regard to the student demonstrations which recently took place there. They appealed to the young people to live in peace and friendship and to appreciate the peace as a gift of Allah. From Minsk, we learn that the group of deputies from the Supreme Soviet Republic have not gotten their quarterly bonuses. That's a decision of the President of the Republic, Stanislav Shushkevich, chiefly for having missed the sessions of the Supreme Soviet. However, people have also noted that this black list contains a lot of people who are in the opposition and who signed a petition demanding the resignation of the Belarusian government. The question of strengthening ties between Ukrainians outside Ukraine and of strengthening the historical context. These were the topics of the Congress of Ukrainians, which opened today in Kiev. This is Kravchuk, president of Ukraine, who stated that every third Ukrainian has been forced to leave the land of his ancestors These were people had to do this because they had no rights in their own home. But Kravchuk said he was consoled by the fact that Ukrainians went to other countries not as conquerors, but they went there as farmers with their songs and with their ancient longing for peace and beauty and agreement. The Congress will develop a special program on cultural ties with the Ukrainian diaspora. In those areas where there are many Ukrainians, there may be Ukrainian schools open, there will be Ukrainian newspapers, and the people's popular art will be developed and maintained. The hope was expressed that the Commonwealth would support such programs of national renaissance.